Well, I think we've really arrived at the first knife's edge of our season. If this homestand goes well, the Sabres may well find a way back into a competitive position this year. But if this homestand goes badly, we could really, without exaggeration, be looking at the end of our playoff chances already in November. So if the boys are ever going to give us the 4 best games of their life to save their season, it has to be these 4 games coming up here at home. Hey all, I'm Chris. This is the SaberCast, and the Buffalo Sabres are finally heading back home for a 4-game homestand. It kicks off Monday night against the Edmonton Oilers, and that's what we're here for. We're here to take a look at the injuries we received the last time out there against Detroit. We're going to talk a little bit about the goaltending situation across the organization, because there's a lot of things that have been going on, and honestly, we got to figure out where we're going to go from here moving forward. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at that. And then we'll take a look at Edmonton, Monday's opponent, take a look at their kind of strengths and weaknesses and how they've performed this year as a kind of way to preview Monday's game. So let's just get going here. So, of course, Saturday night, there were 2 players who exited the game against Detroit, those being Michael Kesselring and Tyson Kozak. Kozak blocked a shot in the 3rd period, and he went to the dressing room after. According to Coach Ruff, he was readying to return to the game when the Sabres were able to win in overtime. So that does not seem to be a point of concern, just probably a bit of a stinger there on a blocked shot, maybe a bit of a bruise, but he was going to come back into that game, so I don't think there's any long-term concerns there about Tyson Kozak. But the concern does rest with Michael Kesselring. Now, on the broadcast, it was said that Kesselring had said he had not come back 100% from his previous injury yet. That's the same injury that was nagging him in training camp, and then he had to miss a couple weeks at the start of the season, and then he came back kind of the start of this month. But it has continued apparently to nag him through this part of November since his return. However, against Detroit, he went to make a check on the boards on a Red Wing, and he came up kind of lame after that check, had to go to the bench, and he did not return. And we've received really no other information other than the post-game press conference, but Ruff said it doesn't look good. Now, at the time of recording, nothing else has come out, so there will probably be more stuff coming out as we get closer to the game. Probably there will be a press conference on Monday, which will give more information, but it should be assumed that Kesselring may be on the shelf for a while. If it is indeed a re-aggravation of his previous injury actually was pretty much undisclosed by the team, so we don't really have any idea what it was. But if it was indeed a lower body injury, so it could well be he re-aggravated it on Saturday, and he could miss some time. I don't think there's anybody who's expecting him to play on Monday. It puts the Sabres in a bit of a spot because they had just sent down Zach Jones with Dahlin's return, but now they're probably going to need to recall another defenseman from Rochester to fill that gap. Whether that is Jones or whether that is Ryan Johnson or whether that is Zach Metza remains to be seen. For the majority of us, we'd like to see maybe Johnson get another chance, but he seems to be in the doghouse for a bit right now. But he is the defenseman with the most upside and the most developmental potential. I personally want to see Zach Jones, but he's been up a couple of times and has not gotten an opportunity yet, so I think that's probably a pipe dream of mine at this point. They know who he is as an offensive player. But Ryan Johnson, after his early play, I thought he did very well early in the season, but he got sent to the doghouse very quickly, and he has not resurfaced since that time. So it'll be interesting to see what the Sabres do as far as bringing up another defenseman to cover the Kesselring injury, if indeed it turns out to be a bit of a serious injury. But right now, there's very little information that has come out since the game against the Red Wings. And now we just are kind of waiting for more news. I'm sure there will be more news on Monday as we approach the game. So if anyone gets that news, feel free to post it down in the comment section below. Kind of share it around as an addendum to this video. So that's the injury situation. There's probably going to be a call-up, but we don't know who it's going to be, and we don't have no indication of how long Kesselring may or may not be on the shelf for. Hopefully it's not too long, but I would much rather err on the side of him taking time and getting healthy than rushing back maybe as he did before and us playing this game the whole season where he's back and then he's injured, then he's back and then he's injured, because we need him at 100%. And I don't honestly believe he has been at 100% since coming back. He never really seemed to get up to speed since he came back from that injury. Maybe there were a couple games in the middle there where he was playing well, but basically from the start of this road trip, he seems to have been not playing his best, seems to have been a little bit hobbled, and I think this injury just kind of confirmed that there. So hopefully not out too long, and hopefully they call up someone intriguing or interesting, and if they do call someone up, I would like to see them get in the game maybe ahead of Bryson. We know what Bryson is. There's no real benefit to playing him if someone else can come in. If someone can play a similar role a bit more dynamically, I think that would be better for the Sabres on this homestand. In any event, that's the injury situation. But now what I want to talk about a little bit today is the goaltending situation, because we haven't really had the opportunity to talk much about it. Obviously, the road trip was a very interesting time, as Colten Ellis got 2 games, and UPL got a game, and Alex Lyon got the first game in Carolina, and then 2 minutes basically in Colorado before UPL came in after he was pulled. But it was really a road trip where they wanted to feature Colten Ellis, and I think Colten Ellis, for the most part, acquitted himself well. He did not have a lot of help in his 2 starts, but he came out of that with a win and a loss, and currently through 3 games, he has a .895 save percentage with a 3.36 goals against average. Conversely, UPL .883 save percentage and a 3.02 goals against with 4 starts, with 3 starts and 4 appearances. And then Alex Lyon as the only plus 90 save percentage, .907 save percentage, and a 3.07 goals against. So even though Lyon is currently the best goaltender on the team, there's nobody's numbers who are really knocking your socks off at this point. Alex Lyon was very dominant to start the year, but as soon as UPL came back, it seemed as if the wheels came off a little bit for Lyon. Not that he was playing badly, but certainly he was not playing as well as he'd been playing at the start of the year. I think he was in a rhythm with a lot of early starts, and then UPL came back. They had to give him a few games. I think Lyon got off his rhythm, and now he's playing much more like the goalie that we expected him to get, which still is not bad, but it is not top quality starter material as he had shown early in the year. If he can get back into a rhythm, maybe that'll continue. Certainly, I think he is still the starting goaltender of this team. While Ellis might have the most upside and potential of these goaltenders, Lyon has started 12 games for this team, and he hasn't really played badly enough to lose the job. In Colorado, that was a situation where the team just came out flat and were overwhelmed early. But Lyon's rebound control, it was there. It wasn't there in the preseason. It was there early, but it has slowly gotten away from him really since the start of this month. Also, his glove has not been working as effectively as it was early in the year as well. So I would say that if Ellis or Luukkonen just start playing really, really, really well and Lyon continues to fight it a little bit, that door could open again for either one of those players. Unfortunately for the Sabres, UPL has really struggled in his games. It's not so much that he is giving up a lot of goals, it's that he just cannot make a lot of basic glove saves. He has given up at least 3 goals this year, I would say, on shots where he just did not pick up the release, and it led to a very easy goal for the other side. And he has not shown an ability to make stops at critical times. When he has been called upon to make a critical save, he has not been able to do it, saving for the Washington game, the shootout victory against Washington, where he stood very tall in overtime. But for the most part, he's giving up goals every time the Sabres tie the game or have a 1-goal lead late and he is in goal. He tends to give up a tying goal or a go-ahead goal to the other team. Whereas if you look at Colten Ellis' performance against Detroit, down 4-1, he still stopped a great 2-on-1 chance, a breakaway. And then as the Sabres were clawing back into that game, he did not give up anything when tested. And he went through stretches where he was not tested, but when he was tested at the end of the third period, he still stood tall, kept that game tied, and gave the Sabres a chance to win in overtime. If you're going to go down early, you need a goaltender who's going to be able to refocus and shut the door at certain stretches, which will let you build a comeback attempt. I think Ellis and Lyon have both shown the capacity to do that. I think UPL has not. We've talked about the need potentially to trade UPL, but again, I don't think it's going to be very easy to trade him unless it's a part of a package with a player somebody else wants. Because why would you, if you're another team, why would you trade for UPL? Like, it's a guy who's had one good season. It's a guy who's on a really unfavorable contract for what he produces. It's a guy who had 2 lower body injuries in camp before the season even started, so his health is also questionable. And it's a guy who, quite frankly, right now is not playing well and is not seeing the puck well. It's a very difficult goaltender to move simply because of that contract compared to his play and his injury history. So I agree that trading UPL would be the best thing for us to do. I just don't see how we can do it unless it's a part of a package with another player. As far as the other goaltenders in the organization, we got to go down to Rochester because there are 3 goaltenders sitting in Rochester right now. Topias Leinonen, Devon Levi, and Alexander Georgiev. Yes, Georgiev is still part of this organization, although news has come out over the last week that the Sabres are indeed looking to move him, to trade him to another organization because he really is surplus to requirements. The numbers down in Rochester for all of these guys are not particularly good. Devon Levi has had a really big dip in form recently, and it has led to the following numbers. So Devon Levi has started 9 games. He has 7 wins, 2 losses, save percentage of .891, goals against average of 2.96. So that is very average for a goaltender, but you don't really want to be seeing him have average numbers at the AHL level, especially considering last season he was one of the top goaltenders in the league. But he was outmanned by Colten Ellis last season, and Colten Ellis is up in the NHL putting up similar numbers at that level. Devon Levi was pulled from a game very recently, and the Rochester coach is essentially saying he's giving up too many goals right now, and they need to win games, and he's not coming through for them. But this is why you want him to play a full season down there so that he can go through these ups and downs and hopefully recover. It hasn't been a great start to the year for Levi, and honestly, a lot of these issues with Levi cropped up the same time the reports of the trade rumors cropped up. So it could be playing havoc a little bit with his mental game. So something to keep an eye on there. Hopefully he gets it straightened out because, again, I think the vision here is he is a guy that the Sabres want in Buffalo long term. That's why they gave him the 2-year deal. Kind of prove it in the minors this year and earn your stripes and earn your opportunity back in the NHL next year, I think was the vision. But playing as he is so far, it's going to be a little tough to see him getting that opportunity, especially if we have Colten Ellis playing well. Topias Leinonen, he's played okay. His save percentage actually is the worst on the team. .879 save percentage, 2.68 goals against, 2 wins, 2 losses. Nothing really to write home about there. He's basically given what has been expected, which honestly has not been that great. And then you have Georgiev, who's only managed 2 starts. There's no way he's in rhythm at all. 3.57 goals against average, save percentage .896, but again, only 2 starts, so it's hard to make a good judgment on those numbers. The best thing for him at this point is to be traded. The Sabres have too many goalies in the organization, 3 at the NHL level, 3 at the AHL level. It's just an unworkable situation. Somebody needs to move from at least one of the teams, if not one from both of the teams. And I think Georgiev and UPL are the 2 guys the Sabres are looking to move on from. I don't know what you would get for Georgiev, but at this point it would be better just to not have him in the organization. Better for him and better for the Sabres. We have the depth now with 3 goaltenders up top. Georgiev is really surplus to requirements. So that's where we are with the AHL goalies. I do want to take a minute to go all the way down to Jacksonville and talk about the 7th goalie in the organization, Scott Ratzlaff, who has been very, very good for the Jacksonville Icemen. He's posted 4 wins and 2 losses. He is a goals against of 2.30 and a save percentage of .936. He is putting up numbers at a level in the ECHL where you would say you'd want to see what he has at the AHL level. Obviously, that's not going to happen right now simply because there are too many goalies in this organization, but it is a very, very deep goaltending pipeline, theoretically. The problem is right now, if you look at the AHL goalies and the NHL goalies, there's only one goalie at both levels with a save percentage of over 90, and that's Lyon. Everyone else save percentage under 90. Everyone else below average save percentage. So that's a point of concern. There are a lot of talented goaltenders, but nobody is grabbing the bull by the horns and really staking a claim to being a guy that the Sabres can lean on in the future. I think Colten Ellis has the best chance as of right now because he's acquitted himself the best at the NHL level, but there are still issues in his game as well. So it's a long way to go with this season. This goaltending puzzle is far from being sorted out, but I think the next logical thing to have happen is a trade, either Georgiev or Luukkonen getting moved. I think it's going to be very difficult to move Luukkonen, but I think Georgiev you can probably swing a very, very low-level deal for. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. I think right now, your ideal situation if you're the Sabres is go ahead and make Ellis the backup to Lyon and just roll from there. I think UPL has not shown anything. Now, the reason that won't happen is probably because of his contract and probably because you're still trying to trade him. If UPL can put together a few good performances and he looks hot, then the trade opportunity is much more probable. But if he continues his current level of play, I don't see how we can move him. So that's just my 2 cents on the goaltending situation. Just wanted to touch on everything. That's where we're at. If you have thoughts on it, as we talked about yesterday, please, you can leave them down below in the comments. I'd be happy to hear what you're thinking about that. But we have a hockey game now to prepare for. Now, we talked yesterday about this homestand and how important it is. I think the Sabres need to find a way to get 6 points on this homestand. It is a challenging homestand for sure. There's no doubt there about kind of the difficulty of this homestand. There are some games that you would think they can win. Certainly the game on Wednesday against Calgary is a game they should definitely win. And then the Blackhawks have been very good this year, but you'd like to think on home ice the Sabres can find a way to get points there. And then obviously the Hurricanes are coming in on Sunday. That's a tough one. And the Oilers is a tough one as well. So you'd like to think they win one of the Oilers-Hurricanes games and then they find a way to take care of business against Calgary and Chicago. That would be the roadmap to 6 points. If they get 2 points here against the Oilers, it really increases their chances of getting 6 points on this homestand. So I think it's a very important game. They're taking on an Edmonton team that is very good but has not been dominant recently. So I think this is a game that the Sabres have to try to push on and spring another upset in. The Oilers are obviously going to be paced by Connor McDavid. McDavid has 9 goals and 21 assists on the year for 30 points. Leon Draisaitl has 13 goals, 10 assists for 23 points. But outside of those two, the points drop off quite significantly. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 5 goals, 11 assists for 16 points. He's minus 11 on the year. Evan Bouchard, the defenseman, has 13 assists and 3 goals for 16 points. And that's their top 4 scorers in terms of points. There's not a ton of secondary scoring outside of the top folks on this team. You would like to see, if you're an Edmonton fan, probably a little bit more production from your other forwards. The defensemen have a lot of points, and then McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent-Hopkins have a lot of points. But outside of that, there's only one other forward who is more than 10 points on the season. So if you're an Edmonton fan, you're trying to get a little bit more balanced scoring, I think, across the team there. Additionally, your goaltending has not been that dominant this year. If you're an Edmonton fan, Stuart Skinner has started 14 games for the Oilers. He has 7 wins and 4 losses, 2.77 goals against, .891 save percentage. And then the backup Calvin Pickard has really, really struggled. 2-3 on the year, 7 games played, 6 starts, goals against of 4.17, save percentage of .830. That's really, really bad. So the goaltending has let Edmonton down at times, but they have also found ways to be very competitive in a lot of games. The Oilers have played 20 games at this point in time, and 9 of those games have gone to overtime. They are a team that plays a lot of really close, really tight games, and even outside of that, They have played a few other one-goal games as well. Over half of their games have either gone to overtime or been one-goal games. So, I mean, they are not blowing the doors off of anybody, and it doesn't really matter who the competition is. They are not getting their doors blown off outside of their Colorado 9-1 defeat, and they're not really blowing the doors off anybody. Their last regulation win was back on October 28th against Utah. They won 6-3. Prior to that, their last multi-goal regulation win was back on October 14th against New York Rangers. So they have only won 3 games by more than a goal. So again, they are not blowing anybody out this year, but they have won their last 3 overtime games, and they've won 4 of their last 5 overtime games. So in a lot of respects, they're really the anti-Sabres. The Sabres also take a lot of games to overtime, but they have been much less successful at winning them. The Oilers have taken a lot of games to overtime, and they have won them. If you flipped our overtime results with Edmonton's overtime results, the two teams would be in very similar places. Edmonton would be near the bottom of their division, and Buffalo would be near the top of theirs. Edmonton currently sitting in 5th place in the Pacific, 9-7-4, 22 points through 20 games, .55 point percentage. Their road record, they're 4-6-2 on the road, whereas the Buffalo Sabres at home are 5-3-2 at home. The Sabres are sitting at 6-8-4, 16 points through 18 games, a .444 point percentage. They are, of course, in last place in the Atlantic Division. So both of these teams are looking to move up in the standings, and Edmonton is right there. They're only 2 points out of first place in the very tight Pacific Division. The Kings are in first place, 24 points in 19 games. The Atlantic Division is really crazy right now, as only one team has a positive goal differential in the division. The Pacific is not too different. Only 2 teams in that division have a positive goal differential. So these are teams that are playing in very similar divisions. Edmonton's obviously had the better of it, but 2 teams kind of in very similar places. Just Edmonton has been able to get those overtime games to go in their favor, whereas the Sabres have generally not been able to do it. Obviously, the Oilers have a lot more talent, but they haven't really been playing up to that standard thus far this year. If we look at the macro statistics a little bit, the Oilers are averaging 3.1 goals per game to Buffalo's 2.78. It's not that big of a difference. And then the goals allowed per game, Edmonton 3.4 goals against per game, Buffalo 3.56 goals allowed per game. Again, not a massive difference on either side there. The teams are not separated really by all that much. In terms of shots on goal, Edmonton averages 28.2, Buffalo averages 27.8. So again, very, very even. The one area where it opens up a little bit is on the defensive side. Edmonton only averages 25.6 shots against per game. Buffalo averages 31.7, which is 31st in the league. Edmonton 6th in the league. So Edmonton is very good at limiting their opponent's shots, whereas Buffalo is not. So you can expect Edmonton to probably get close to their average shot total, where Buffalo may well be a bit below their average shot total. Edmonton on the special teams is very good. Their power play is 3rd in the league. It's operating at 31.4%. It's going to be a big test for the Sabres' number 1 penalty kill unit. But the Oilers also boast a pretty solid penalty kill unit themselves, sitting there 82.7%, which is good for 9th in the league. That is in the face of the Sabres' struggling power play, which is tied for 23rd right now, 16.1%. Edmonton also is top 10 in face-offs, 52.8% face-off win rate to the Sabres' 42.4% face-off win rate. Another area where this is going to really, I think, matter is in terms of penalty minutes. Edmonton is the most disciplined team in the league. Only 6 penalty minutes per game is the average. That's number 1. Whereas the Sabres average 11.1 penalty minutes per game, which is 27th. So if they are going to be undisciplined, Edmonton is eventually going to break through on that power play. So one of the keys to this game for the Sabres is you got to be disciplined. You can't take the dumb too many men on the ice penalties. You can't take the lazy stick penalties, tripping, hooking, things like that. You got to be sound with your positioning, and you got to move your feet and skate. Sabres not always the best at doing that, but it's going to be absolutely imperative that they move their feet and they skate in this one tonight. The Oilers are another team that can hit you with speed and can hit you with skill, so the Sabres need to find ways to do what they have been trying to do, which is get the puck through neutral ice in a supported, steady way. Don't try to hit the long passes. Try to get through center ice in a steady, supported way, get pucks in deep, and set up your neutral zone defense, which has been very good, as we've talked about. That's really the key there. For the Sabres, you got to bring the energy, bring the intensity, find the motivation, right? You just came off a very, very big comeback victory against Detroit. You should have all the energy and all the momentum in the world. You're coming home after a tough road trip. It's your first game back home. Rasmus Dahlin is back, so the fans will be happy to see that. Tage Thompson's coming off a really good game. Right now, you have found some momentum in the way you came back against Detroit. So ignore the standings, ignore where you are. That last game, take the energy, take the fact you got the road monkey off your back, take that energy, bring it into this one, come out and have a good first 10 minutes. It's very, very important Buffalo has a good first 10 minutes because you're trying to build energy. And if you give up a goal early, and the Sabres have given up a lot of early goals this year, like first or second shot goals, everything you did against Detroit, that's going to break. And you're going to then have to refine your energy for this one. So hopefully the Sabres have been able to paint a through line from that Detroit game over to this game. If they have, and they're able to establish themselves early, get that first goal, have built a lead at the end of the first period, I like their chances to hang into this one. Again, Edmonton's not blowing the doors off anybody. If the Sabres can play a tough, disciplined, physical, smart game, which I know we have really struggled to do this year, but if they can find a way to do it, Edmonton is a team that you can knock off. They're a little bit vulnerable right now, and I think the Sabres have the potential to take advantage of that. If Alex Lyon is indeed back in net, as is projected, it's going to also be important that they defend very well for him early and let him get settled in the game. Do not hang him out to dry early like they did in Colorado. They have to support him. They have to keep eyes on their men. They have to make the simple plays. Don't make bad defensive passes to the middle of the ice. Don't put your goalie in a bad position. Let him get settled into the game and hopefully get some of his sharpness back. If he is, it seems, a kind of a flow goalie, it's going to be very important that you protect him a lot in that first period. So I think those are the keys for Buffalo coming into this game. And look, we're back where we were. I mean, this is very similar to where we were back earlier in the year after we beat Ottawa and we were 1-3 and Florida was coming to town, a team that was struggling a little bit, that they were not playing their best hockey. The Sabres desperately still needed a win to get off the mat a little bit, build some positive momentum back towards kind of saving the season. It's the same spot. -2 in the win-loss column right now. It's the same situation they were in when Florida came to town. So you got to do it. If you're Buffalo, you got to find a way. Hopefully Alex Lyon can pull off what he did against Florida and pull off a shutout. But if you're the Sabres, you got to play smart. You got to play disciplined. You got to play physical. And you got to find ways to possess the puck in the offensive zone and kind of just grind them down. They're a team that's struggling. They're a team that wants things to be easier than what it is. So if you show them it's going to be hard, again, they might lose a little bit of their will. But if you make them feel like they're going to be able to skate on you and it's going to be an easy ride, they might perk up a little bit and you might not see many opportunities in this game. So the start of this game, absolutely critical, I think, for Buffalo. So that's where we are right now heading into this game against Edmonton. Very important game, I think, for the Sabres. They need to get something out of it. I really think they need to get a win because we cannot expect them to beat Chicago. Chicago is playing very well. I think Calgary, we can say that is a game that the Sabres should win. But Chicago, the Blackhawks are playing really good right now. I don't love their chances in that one. So this would be a game that you really, really need to find a way to steal or at least get points in if you're the Sabres. So good start will go a long way, but they're going to have to play all 3 periods for once. And I don't know right now if they're quite capable of that. That's all I have to say for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. What do you think about this game? What do you think the keys are? How do you think the Sabres can come out and make an impression and win this game against Edmonton? How do you think this homestand is going to go? How many points do you think we need? Do you think 6 is the bare minimum? Do you think we can get by with 5 or 4? The road is going to be tough from here, but how do you think this homestand is going to go? Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like more Sabres hockey content, please subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you here. As always, go Sabres. Bye-bye.